Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
This was a bold move. I mean, China doesn't do things haphazardly.
Former FBI Supervisory Special Agent Lance Lysing says a foreign balloon like this is rare, but likely more of a statement than a danger.
It's likely a bold message, more than it is a threat, and it's a political stalemate. What is the Biden administration going to do? What is the U.S. military going to do?
Today, Air Force Brigadier General Pat Ryder saying the U.S. is monitoring the situation and tracking its possible abilities to gain insights and sensitive information.
We do know that the balloon has violated U.S. airspace and international law, which is unacceptable.
Surveillance balloons are no stranger to Arizona, just on the domestic side of things.
There's a balloon over Fort Huachuca down near Sierra Vista. It's very apparent. You can see it from miles away. It's likely collecting a lot of different intelligence items. Some of it might just simply be meteorological.
But others take issue with balloons down along the southern Arizona border. State Representative Raul Grijalva tweeting about Homeland Security surveillance blimps that have gone up without notification to southern Arizona city leaders and residents. Representative Grijalva said in a statement to Arizona's Family Friday, "Surveilling Americans is a very serious issue, and I share people's outrage over China's action. We also shouldn't be treating people in our border communities like foreign adversaries, and that's the point. I'm glad to have created some awareness as to what our border communities experience, as we all have a constitutional right to privacy." Former FBI Special Agent John Iannarelli says China still has high-tech satellites that can monitor the U.S. and says if the United States decides to shoot down the balloon in a safe and rural area, the FBI will be there.
If it's brought down, the FBI is going to want to have a look at it. That information can be used in the future to help us.
Gun-free zones are the most dangerous places in our country. The Second Amendment is absolute, and it's here to stay. A recent report states that Americans own 46% of the world's guns. I think we need to get our numbers up, boys and girls.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Nice to see everybody. Hope they had a good week. Boy, it's been cold here. Last couple of days. Right now, it's about 15 below right now with the windshield adding more to it. Okay, and it's expected to get about 20, 21 or 22 below later tonight, and we're going to get more of the same tomorrow. But boy, it's cold. I mean, I had to go down and pay my internet bill in cash today, and I'll tell you, walking from the truck in the parking lot to the front door of the business, I damn near froze my hands off. I mean, I literally, my hands were numb by the time I got to the door. Unbelievable. I mean, it's funny because it was sunny out, but the damn cold, I mean, so it's the coldest day that we've had here this winter, today. So I don't know. Usually what that's a sign of is the seasons are beginning to change. If you go back into like November, late November, early December, that would take you back to the period of winds we were getting as we were transitioning into winter. And now that the Earth is tilting back the other way, putting us closer to the sun, we're getting wind chills that are really, really cold because of the fact that it's winter here. So, I don't know if we're going to get any more snow. We got snow on the ground, but it's like mostly ice now because it gets warm in the day and melts a little bit, and then at night it just freezes solid. So you got like, it looks like a big pack of snow, but it's all ice all the way down. So it's really a pain in the ass, and I almost fell going down to the parking lot because there's a downward slope going to the parking lot, and I almost skied right down that into the front of my truck. But anyway, I'm making it. I'm managing here, so what a bizarre week we've had here with Congress, huh? Jesus. You got Congress out there that's we thought that, them trying to pick a speaker there was going to be hard, but what they're doing now is sort of like circus shit. It's like they're what I think is going on is that these Republicans in the Congress are trying to be as draconian and extreme as they possibly can, because they feel the voters are going to want that. And why wouldn't they think that, right? Because a lot of the voters that got them into their seats are people that voted for Trump. And we know how Trump is, right? Trump is a bigoted extremist bastard. So why wouldn't they try to appeal to that base, right? So all week they've been saying all kinds of crazy shit about wanting to have the people armed in Congress, everywhere, or the government rather, whatever. You had Lauren Boebert on the floor complaining, we need to have people armed, okay? And then you had them fighting with AOC, telling her, because AOC was saying, there's people that I, wouldn't think is safe being armed in the house, or, what I'm saying? I would just feel my life would be in danger, because you remember she had some guy that's in Congress that was threatening her, sent her I don't know if it was a message or an email or something, but it was some nasty thing that could be interpreted as a threat on her life. And I can't remember who the bastard's name, what his name was. Paul Gosar, yeah, a Republican, of course. Yeah, he sent a tweet, I guess is what it was, a video that showed him striking Alexandria Cortez with a sword and appearing to threaten Joe Biden. He sent her that, and this was like back in November of 2021, okay? And she was arguing that the House members basically were saying that, if you're going to arm people, then I need to know if you're going to arm people who have threatened others, bodily violence or something like that, how that's going to work out for you as Republicans if you want to give people like that a gun to walk around and work all day having on their person. Basically saying, look, the guy threatened me, but she couldn't name him in the rant she was given. I guess there's a rule that you can't disparage somebody on their publicly on the floor or some damn thing or in a meeting. But everybody knew who she was talking about, and she was basically saying, if you're going to let a guy like Paul Gosar carry a weapon, okay, who basically already threatened me to kill me with a sword and poking fun at Joe Biden, you're basically just creating the problem that we as Democrats have been trying to avoid or trying to stop happening all around the country, giving guns to people that shouldn't have them. And she makes a good point, because not everybody in Congress is firing on all thrusters, to borrow a phrase from Dr. McCoy in Star Trek. Okay, it's just these people they come in all shapes and colors and all walks of life, and just like society, you don't know which one of these people is capable of just taking a gun out and shooting somebody, if they feel like they want to. I mean, what happens in a debate on the House floor, and somebody is getting cornered in a debate, and they get bitchy and ugly, and all of a sudden they pull out a gun and shoot the other? I mean, are we going to be looking forward to that? What makes these people think it's going to be any safer? I mean, and think of the Capitol Police now. If the Capitol Police know that everybody inside the Capitol is armed, how do you think that's going to put them on the standing with these people? How, are they going to have to be there to respond to the people that they're supposed to protect because they're in there shooting each other? I mean, that's going to change the whole narrative about Capitol Police. It's not going to be about protecting them from the public. It's going to be about protecting them from themselves. So she was laying out all the stuff to show why it's such a bad idea. Okay, to let House members walk armed around, carrying a pistol or whatever. It's just not right. It's not the thing to do, and it's only going to create a problem that doesn't happen right now, but it will if you let people walk around with guns. And of course, Lauren Boebert also had made some kind of a slam on the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and she jokingly said, well, ATF in my state means, we're having a good weekend or something like that, onto that remark. Total a stupid, childish answer to something that's, people are talking about as talking about a serious issue, which is why, you never see anything done when it comes to the Republican Party. Okay? And the things that they've been talking about, like M&Ms and guns, and what else they've been talking about since they started. I know I'm forgetting something here, but books, getting rid of books in the classrooms, attacking education. If you just look at the list of things that they've discussed so far since they, started their job there as being the leaders in the Congress now, you're going to find that they're not addressing anything that's the issue of the day. Okay, they're not trying to fix anything. Instead, they're out there talking about, screwing up society even more. I mean, they're out there doubling down on banning abortions again and stuff. It's like, you guys, we got balloons flying over our head from China taking pictures of the United States, and you sit there and you want to talk about, what people can wear at work. Okay, it's just why these people, why voters even consider voting for them when they are so far removed from the actual day-to-day problems of America. I don't know. I just don't get it. I mean, if these Republican voters are so concerned about their well-being, their future, their jobs, their money, all these things, why are they so invested in voting for a party who has done nothing to prop that up or to improve on that in any way? Okay? You can't get a Republican to point at any period in the last 50 years, or hell, in the last 60 years, okay, that they've managed to create and implement that benefited America. Not one thing. You can't. But yet you can think of there's a lot of things that Democrats have done through opposition from the right wing, no less, that they have implemented, and it did make things better in the country. But, Republicans, for some reason, their brains are just wired backwards, and I can't see how they can see things that way, unless the fact is that their intentions are not the same as the rest of us, that their intentions is not about helping Americans, but to make the country look worse, to make it less functional, in order to justify them trying to get rid of the government we have, to replace it with something more dangerous. Okay, something that's led a lot of countries in the world to some bad, terrible times, which you think this country would have learned from watching how the Soviet Union fell, how Nazi Germany fell. You know, I mean, we've witnessed so many things. You know, we're actually seeing, you know, Russia today going through shit that could lead to its demise. I mean, we're just not picking it up. We're not learning the lesson because we're too busy wanting to send troops here, send troops there, you know, fight here, fight there, war. That's all they want to do. And to them, that's the answer. Just to perpetuate the bloodshed, to make it worse than it is, okay? To, you know, put, you know, talk aside and go right to the gun, which follows the line of logic in today's America for a lot of people, okay? But, you know, we're not getting anywhere with an armed America. I mean, 3 guns to every man, woman, and child in this country is not helping this country at all. People are still getting shot, even if they're armed. They don't get to their gun fast enough to defend themselves, okay? So what are they going to do next? They're going to say people will be able to carry their guns by hand? You know, I mean, that's going to be the next thing they're going to want? I mean, come on. You know, how far are we as Americans going to let this ridiculous situation unfold into the kind of future that you would have a better chance surviving Russian roulette than stepping out your fucking door to go anywhere, okay? I think that, you know, we've been taken for a ride here by the gun manufacturers and the NRA. We've been hoodwinked. We've been sold up the river, or whatever you know what I'm saying. We've been tricked because in order for them to sell their product, they had to make us believe that we needed it. Okay? And what better way to do that than to take all these gun shootings and hold them up there as examples, saying, see, we keep telling you over and over again, we have to have an armed America. The police can't stop it. Okay? But what they ain't telling you is that even after you give them more weapons, the escalation of these problems that are showing up keep getting worse and worse and worse. So that's not helping. And the cops, you know, no, it's not a wonder they have to treat every situation with their hand on a gun, because you just don't know. You just don't know. You can't assume that the person you're pulling over isn't armed anymore. Okay? I mean, even here, look, the last time I got a ticket when I went through a red light, okay, I got pulled over. First thing the cop did when he got out of his car was he unlocked his holster and he had his hand on his gun as he walked up to my window. I saw that in the rearview mirror. Okay, and I'm thinking, you know, there was a time when a cop would never have done that, you know, back not that long ago. Okay, but after 9/11, the militarization and the drastic armament of the police, you know, went up. Okay, and when that happened, people felt they needed to be more armed and to compensate for that. So I noticed when he come up to the window that he had it tonight, and I said, you know, that's the way they're training them now. Okay, that they have to approach every situation as red alert. I mean, figure the guy's got a gun and he's ready to pull it on you. Okay, so you got to be careful not to jump the cop when he's coming up to the car window there to give you your ticket. You know, otherwise, you know, you're going to end up with a bullet in your ass, and you're going to, you know. So, like I said, it's very severe times right now, and you know, I can see the change in just my lifetime, how things have gotten way out of hand in this country from people we trust to stop stuff like that from happening, and it's not working. Now, there's an article here I want to read here. Excuse me. Let me get to the right page here. Okay, yeah, this is from Jezebel. Jezebel magazine, I guess, or news, whatever the hell it is. Anyway, it was posted here yesterday, entitled, Tennessee bill would imprison people for 3 years if they lie about being raped only to get an abortion. Republican lawmakers in Tennessee introduced a bill this week that would add a rape exception to the state's near total abortion ban, with the caveat that those who lie about being raped to access abortion care could be sentenced to up to 3 years in prison. The bill, which Jessica Valenti first surfaced in her abortion newsletter on Tuesday, would also require rape victims who do receive abortion care, which they can only get after an invasive forensic exam, to preserve and submit, quote, a sample of the embryonic or fetal tissue extracted during the abortion, unquote, to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation for investigation into the offense. Introduced by State Senator Farrell Haley, Republican, the State Representative Iris Rudder, Republican, it refers to children as young as 12 as women, specifying that child rape victims who are 12 or younger can get an abortion up to 10 weeks into their pregnancy, while children and adults who are 13 or older can have an abortion at up to 8 weeks. The measure, SB 857 in the State Senate and HB 1440 in the State House, essentially threatens rape survivors who are systematically disbelieved with prison time for seeking health care. It also threatens them with criminal investigation into their fetal tissue, even if they are believed and get an abortion. Haley and Rudder's proposed rape exception is, quote, designed to be unworkable, unquote, said Jalisa Jackson, interim executive director of ARC Southeast, an abortion fund that serves several states, including Tennessee, and poses just another set of barriers. The healthcare system is already untenable for survivors. A study from last September found costs for sexual assault-related healthcare visits averaged at $3,550 for all victims and $4,550 for pregnant victims. Despite being presented as an act of compassion from anti-abortion lawmakers, the bill discourages rape victims from coming forward and possibly from seeking health care at all. Who would stake 3 years of their life on the statistically low chance of being believed and supported by law enforcement? Fewer than 1% of rapes lead to felony convictions. In effect, rape exceptions are, quote, entirely disingenuous, unquote, Destiny Spaeth, who helps run the North Dakota-based Women in Need Abortion Fund, told Jezebel. They're merely, quote, PR for anti-abortion politicians, unquote, while serving as a, quote, unquote, deterrent to survivors, separating ostensibly, quote, good abortions from bad, unquote. Quote, it's just another round of violation of their autonomy within the healthcare system, within a police and judicial system that routinely hurt survivors, unquote, Spaeth said. By threatening survivors seeking abortion care, Tennessee's bill builds on existing systemic issues. Sexual assault survivors are often threatened with criminalization, sometimes upon reporting their assailant, and face jarringly high rates of incarceration. And criminal charges for pregnancy outcomes, including abortion, often implicate victims of violence. In 2019, a woman was jailed for fetal homicide when she miscarried after she was shot. At roughly the same time, the SB 587 HB 1440 was introduced in Tennessee. Utah's legislature introduced an abortion ban with a rape exception that requires victims seeking abortion to report their rape to police. This sort of caveat involving law enforcement for survivors to access abortion has become increasingly common in anti-abortion legislation. And it's especially jarring given that the overwhelming majority of rapes aren't reported. But even lawmakers who introduce bans that don't include rape exceptions still find ways to bolster law enforcement at victims' expense. In September of 2021, Texas Governor Greg Abbott defended his state's abortion ban and its lack of rape exceptions by stating that he would simply, quote, eliminate all rapists from the streets, unquote. This he would supposedly achieve by giving more funding to the same police officers who do little to nothing to prevent sexual violence and frequently perpetuate it themselves. Legal experts pointed out that Abbott's 2021 abortion ban, enforced by allowing people to sue anyone who helped someone get an abortion for at least $10,000, opened the door for rapists to stalk and sue their victims and potentially profit from their pregnancies. Other abortion bans and proposals, including one that call for, quote, community review, unquote, panels to determine whether victims are eligible for a rape exception, carry outsized harm for survivors, especially the child survivors that SB 857/HB 1440 treats as adults. Last summer, a 10-year-old rape victim from Ohio was forced to travel to Indiana, for abortion due to Ohio's virtually exceptionless ban. The impact of abortion bans on survivors and all pregnant people who consequently become victims or this form of state-perpetuated violence is the same, with or without exceptions, that could possibly throw survivors in prison. Abortion is the most critical way to protect victims, help them out of an unsafe situation, and not prolong their connection to someone who's assaulted them. Spaeth said, quote, protecting survivors means no abortion bans, not just exceptions that don't work, unquote. Okay, so you see, Republicans are still on that track, of making it more difficult for women to get abortions. And, they try to make it, you see how they, on the surface, they try to make it look like, we're not trying to stop abortions, so much, by putting out an out-and-out ban, okay? But at the same time, they're putting the caveat in there that, you got to prove that, you was really raped, and if you lie about it, we're going to throw you in prison for 3 years, okay? Well, what happens if they try to prove it and they ain't got enough evidence to prove it? Do they just unilaterally make the judgment that you lied and then they'll throw you, in jail? I mean, how do you know how they're going to use that bill? Is it going to be used in the way it's written, or is that just going to give them a door to open so that way they can throw more women in jail for doing something they don't want them to do? Okay, you see what I'm saying? It's a rule that's left open to be twisted by any attorney, any jury, any judge, or whatever you want. Okay, that's the problem that we have with that bill. Okay, you don't put things like that in there to scare women away from getting an abortion, and that's really what that's designed. They're basically saying, well, look, if you lie to us about it, we're going to throw you in prison. Well, a lot of women, for one thing, are already having a problem even just coming forward that they've been raped, okay? And then at the other hand, there's times when the rapist got off, and wouldn't that in itself prove that, well, you lied because this person was acquitted of the rape because, you didn't have enough evidence to prove he did it. Okay, so, we're just going to punish you anyway. 3 years behind bars because you couldn't prove the guy raped you. They'll consider that a lie. And on top of that, they could probably throw perjury charges on top of the woman and make the sentence longer, because if she lied, then she lied under oath. You see what I'm saying? It's a double-edged sword, and it doesn't stop or solve anything. But that's the way Republicans are. And if it's not something like this, there'll be some other bill later on that some other state will propose that'll again make it difficult for women to get an abortion because of these caveats. So, it's, while we sit here and watch Congress basically playing a circus game, at the same time, we got state senates and legislators and governors out there around doing all kinds of nasty shit against women to make their lives a living hell, while everyone's focused about what Lauren Boebert's saying on the House floor, which is never anything intelligent, or what Marjorie Taylor Greene is out there saying on the floor in the Senate or whatever, saying stuff that is also not intelligent, and other people sitting here threatening to default the nation on the debt ceiling problem that's going to come up here, okay? So while the nation's focused on what's happening in D.C., we're not really paying attention to what's going on in the individual states out there, the red states, on what they're doing to their population, okay? So like I said, I think that a lot of what's going on this week, the crazy, wacky things that they've been saying, the Republicans in Washington, D.C., is all designed simply to keep the base satisfied. Okay, they know the base want to hear that shit. Okay, and so when they feel like they can do things like this and figure that even if we can't get it through on the federal level, we can still enact it on the state level, then that justifies everything they're saying in Washington, D.C., okay? That justifies what they're saying on the House floor. Nothing they ever make into try to make into a bill is ever going to become law. They know this. So what they're doing is they're doing the work of advertising for their buddies in the state level, while the states are out there, the red states are out there trying to put the screws to the women in their states. So, I mean, it's a pretty convoluted thing for them to do, but since the only thing they control is Congress, they have control over these red states pretty tight, and they're making it known, and I just feel like there ought to be people like moving out of those states, wouldn't you think? When they hear about what their governor's doing, like death sentence down in Florida. Especially him, because he wants to punish teachers for having books in the back of their classroom. Okay, books that he figures shouldn't be there. Okay, this is the same group of people who thought that M&Ms, or think that bitching about M&Ms having a sexual, a friggin' identity. Okay, they're arguing about candy. Okay, why would you listen to somebody like that, or even, give them credence about making bills, or something like that? What I'm saying? It's just they're stupid. They're really stupid and mindless thinkers. Okay, in a bad way. Okay, it's one thing to think, wrongly because you're ignorant, but it's worse when you're thinking that way and it's that way and you want it to be that way in order to appease the dummies that are out there who are going to vote for you later on. I mean, that's what they're reduced to. Okay, that's what the Republicans are reduced to now, because their base has been decimated, I think, by Trump. Was decimated by the kind of things that the Republican Party has been doing since Trump. And you have people leaving the party to become independent or Democrat because they don't want to be tied into the same, mishandling of government issues that they've been involved in. They don't want to share the blame, even though a lot of these people saw to it that Trump was president. A lot of them have buyer's remorse, and even though they won't admit it, it's been already known that their numbers are dropping in the Republican base. So what they're doing doesn't come without a price. But they figure that at the end, it won't matter. Okay, that the Democrats will somehow fuck up the election or something by splitting their own vote, like what we did when Hillary and Bernie Sanders was running for the presidency. Okay, big mistake that was, because it split the base and there wasn't enough votes to get Hillary the electoral vote she needed to win. So Republicans will figure they can repeat that again, even though they're going to have to face a possible fracture of their base when Trump and DeSantis try to slug it out over the White House too. So, they got this problem coming their way as well. All right, let's go to a commercial break. We'll return after these messages.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Holy fuck.
Were you just checking out her ass?
No, I wasn't.
You know what? Fuck this.
Wait, babe, calm down. Oh my god. Mary! I am sorry!
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
George Santos, the liar, the king liar here of the world, okay, he was out there clapping and applauding that they removed, that Congress removed Ilhan Omar from her position, and because they accused her of saying some anti-Semitic things. They accused her of being racist, okay, which, Democrats were defending her and saying that, they're just pulling this out of their ass. And basically there's, Republicans galore who have said, including Trump, who've said many things you could label as anti-Semitic or even racist or something like that. And they've never had to step down or anything like that, as far as we know, or as far as I can remember anyway. They've never had to answer for a lot of the things that they've said about people over the years as they, allegedly tried to govern this country. But here, now that they have control of the House, they're taking their anger out because they couldn't win anything else, because the red wave didn't happen. They're taking their anger out on anybody that's, fair game, I guess they look at it as. And of course, she would be the one they would go after because, of course, she's Muslim, and they don't like Muslims. Okay, they don't trust them. They don't like them. I don't know why. I mean, it's just, I guess it all goes all the way back to 9/11, I suppose, and they still feel justified in having, certain ethnic groups not be able to serve in D.C. Okay, so there's this article here. And let's see. Whoops, it's too big. Okay. George Santos congratulates House for punishing Ian Omar for anti-Semitic remarks. Santos, the New York Republican who voluntarily recused himself from all House committees over complaints that he has lied extensively about his past, congratulated House lawmakers yesterday for voting to punish Representative Ian Omar, Democrat from Minnesota, for her anti-Semitic remarks. Quote, "Today I rise to congratulate my colleagues on voting to remove Representative Ian Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee," unquote, Santos said on the floor. Republicans who voted for the measure argued that Omar has a history of anti-Semitism and therefore has no place on that committee. Omar and other Democrats accused Republicans of racism in singling out Omar because she is a Muslim from Africa, but Republicans voted together and approved the resolution which removes her from the committee. George Santos is being investigated by FBI over alleged dog charity scam. Santos, who was accused of lying about having a Jewish heritage, said the vote is a win for foes of anti-Semitism. Quote, "The passage of Resolution 76, House Resolution 76, sends a strong message that we support Israel and the Jewish community," unquote, he said. Quote, "I urge the 118th Congress to now stand together, proudly upholding every single American, no matter race, pedigree, religion, nor creed," unquote. He said Jewish Americans are, quote, "patriotic Americans, and that we all have a role in fighting bigotry and anti-Semitism in our country. We must make sure that the House of Representatives reflects such principles as a united body," unquote. All this coming from a guy, okay, who has changed his name, okay. George Santos isn't his real name, okay. Yet he still goes by that name. He never graduated from any college, okay. He's not Jewish. He says he's Jew-ish, okay. But yet it's a very, very hard way of tracking down anyone who was Jewish in his line. There's really nothing there to really hang his hat on to say that he's, Jewish or whatnot. So he lied about that, and only to get, just so he could get votes from Jewish people in New York. And now he's being investigated for, fraud for things, and, I mean, this guy, why he's still sitting in Congress is beyond me. I mean, the guy If this would have happened to a congressman, say, 30, 40 years ago, the guy, you would out. He'd have been out, right out of there. Even the Republicans would have voted him out. Would have gotten him out. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't still be sitting in his seat today. And that's just as recent as 40 years ago, okay? And the thing is that today it's a different world, because now it's about who can tell the biggest lie and get people to believe it, okay? That's the kind of government that we live in now. And if that liar happens to hold a sword of Damocles over your head, as Santos does over the speaker, okay, that guy's going to get a break 6-7 ways from Sunday. I mean, it's just, there's no way you're going to get rid of this guy, okay, because they need his vote. And so whatever they dig up on Santos, whatever kind of crimes this man has done, okay, and I'm sure there's plenty, they're not going to be able to get rid of him, okay? It's just not going to happen. So crime doesn't matter to the Republicans, even though they claim that they're all about trying to get rid of crime or to stop it. They've done nothing, or will do nothing, to anybody that's a criminal but yet has some kind of benefit that they can use. And that's really what it's all for, you know, what they're about. You know, that's why you got a Lauren Boebert out there with the past that she's got, and the, you know, the people that know her and you know, say she's the worst thing there is around here, you know, talk to her neighbors, okay? You know, you got, you know, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene with her racist background, and, you know, the people that she likes to hang around with and stuff. I mean, we got all kinds of these, you know, these rags in Congress right now that are just basically, you know, there only to make other people clap and applaud and get their votes, okay? It doesn't matter if they do anything while they're congressman or whatnot, or senator or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter anymore. These people that vote for them, I don't think they care one way or the other if anything ever gets done. What they care about is that these people are capable of destroying the country, you know. They're basically the terrorist weapon of our country. I mean, they're, you know, they got the Trumplican voters, that's the terrorists, and we got the people they elect in Washington D.C. as their weapon. Okay, it's like, you know, infecting something inside, you know, inside a person, you know, kind of some kind of a germ or a virus or something like that. These people are the viruses that they're putting in D.C. in order to destroy it, because they know how stupid and incompetent they are. And so they know they'll do their bidding to destroy, to make things happen quicker, to bring down the country. You know, and I figured, you know, this is people from my generation that are doing this sort of thing, okay? Did they not learn anything at all from the previous generation about how one corrects a problem in the government, okay? Or has it been that the previous generation was so embittered by things that happened, you know, in their time, that the lessons that they taught us, our generation, were anti-American to a, you know, very large degree. So much so that you know, we grew up with the idea that America is broken and you can't trust it and you shouldn't do anything for it, and you know what I'm saying? I don't know which way it is, or maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know, but the fact is that we have a country that's in desperate need of help, okay? And we're being told not to expect it from D.C., okay? It's, you know, we shouldn't ask for help, even though these Republicans will turn around whenever their states are decimated by natural causes. They'll go begging to the government for a handout to fix their state, okay? And at the same time, they're out on the floor telling people the government is never there to help you when you need it, and we shouldn't pay taxes and, you know, get rid of all these things. And they label it all as socialist, you know, to give it some kind of a boogeyman kind of atmosphere to it. But these people will do that And and I can't see why a president can't say, well, look, you spent the better part of your career shitting all over the system in this country. Why should I give you one thin dime to help your state after Katrina or after the tornadoes or hurricanes or whatever? Why should I bother? I mean, you're coming to the very system you said you don't believe in to help you out. Well, you can do this on your own then if you think you can do it. And, we'll see how well of a good job you do. And I would put all the spotlight on that so the rest of America can see for themselves why we need a government. Okay? Because a state by itself is not going to be strong enough to be able to manage, something severe like these things that to get out of this on their own. They're going to need FEMA. They're going to need, donations. They're going to need, the government military to help find survivors and stuff. They're going to need it because it's bigger than they are, and when it's something like that is needed, you're going to turn to the government to help. That's what it's there for. Whenever something requires more than just 10 people to take care of, I mean, you're going to be looking at you're going to need aid, okay? Because it's going to cost a state by itself more money than they can afford. So, people need to realize, what's FEMA there for? Why are we paying taxes? Well, make a list of the things that tax money goes to. And you're going to find that there's more things you support in the taxes we pay than not support. Of course, we can all find things that we pay taxes on that we think we don't need. Okay? And I'm sure there's some in there that we pay too much on. Okay? But that's a different discussion. But just to say let's not pay taxes at all, well, that's getting rid of all the good things that we benefit from in our taxes and stuff like that. Okay, that's leaving a whole lot of people out to dry, hanging them out to dry, as they say, by kicking them off of Social Security and Medicare and all that, which the Republicans want to do. They want that money. They want the Social Security money. They want the Medicare money. They want all that stuff. Okay, they want to privatize the whole fucking thing so they can make profit plus the expense on your back to pay your part of it. It's not going to be, monthly checks. If you're going to be on a privatized retirement thing, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you, and people are going to find out, why we had to create that system in the first place, because Republicans never could come up with a justifiable position to justify why we shouldn't have Social Security or why we don't need Medicare. Okay, they haven't to this day come up with a very good idea. All they're good at doing is labeling things. They call it socialism, and they keep hammering that fucking word over and over again, even though they're misusing it. They keep hammering that word over and over again to the public, trying to convince them that it's bad, it's boogeyman, it's Stalin, it's what I'm saying. They're trying to make people feel like we're getting ourselves into something we can't get out of. When the system has been reliable in our country since the day that stuff's been started, okay? It helped us get out of the fucking depression, some of these things, okay? And so, how can you say that anything that helps people to get them on the feet on their feet is a bad thing? Go talk to the people that are collecting Social Security and Medicare. Ask them if they would give it up right now. A lot of them are going to say no because they couldn't get anything from anybody else without cost. That even though what they're getting isn't a big amount of money, they still depend on that and the benefits they get with it. Okay? Especially in this day and age where we got inflation through the fucking roof here. They're depending on that more than ever now. And now, more than ever, the Republicans want to cut that right out from under everybody's feet. Again, it's another way of destroying the country. To set it on its ass, to prove to say, see, look, government can't help you. No, it's not. That's not what it is. Republicans can't help you because they don't want to help you. They don't want the American people dipping into the American money, which is, when you talk in Social Security, that's your money that you've been putting into your whole life that you've been working. Okay? Some people don't even get that money back because they die before they reach 65 or whatever the age is now. Okay? Some people don't even get that money back. Okay, so you have people out there trying to tell you that it doesn't work, that it's a failed system. Well, it may not work as good as some people want it to that are getting it, but they'll tell you they can't lose it because their lifestyle would put them out on the street homeless, where some of them would starve. They wouldn't have money for food. I mean, you can't just make drastic things like that happen without considering the repercussions. I mean, how do you think these Republicans are going to be able to win elections if they turn around and do something like that? And people know they're the ones that ended it. You think they're going to win anything then? I mean, they'd have to steal in order to win, and they'd have to do everything they could, including assassinating their opponents, for Christ's sake, in order for them to get seats in D.C. because nobody would vote for them. The states, they would completely fall apart, especially the red states, because they say the red states collect more social security benefits than the blue states do. Okay, more than half of the people receiving these checks are people living in red states. So they would be cutting their nose off to spite their face, because without that money, their economic flow in their states would simply just freeze, because nothing would ever move. People wouldn't be able to buy a damn thing. These states would just become, giant ghettos in our country. So if these people actually sat and thought about that, when a Republican comes out and says, I'm cutting Social Security out from under everybody, they should just throw eggs and tomatoes at that son of a bitch and laugh him off the stage, because he's a fucking nut. He's a fucking nut. So, you cannot just clap and applaud what somebody says on the surface without reading into it. If you can't critically think what somebody is saying to you, then you got no business listening to any politician and listening to any promises that they want to make to you. You got no business, because you're a bad customer. Anybody could sell you anything. You're probably the kind of person that will go to a car and willingly buy a lemon, okay, and think that you got the greatest thing. I mean, I know people that are like that, okay? I know some people that are like that. They'll buy anything and think they got a sweet deal, and then all of a sudden, things start breaking down, and the damn thing is always in the shop, and they're like, Jesus Christ, just because they wouldn't ask questions, just because they wouldn't, critically think about what they were going to do before they do it, okay? Because, mommy and daddy's not going to be there to protect you or to pull you out of the mistake you made if you make one, okay? You're on your own. So you're going to have to slow down and think, is what they're telling me honest, or are they feeding me some shit, that they want me to take so that they can walk away running to the bank laughing, You always have to think that way in today's world, because there's so many people out there. I mean, Jesus, all you people out there that's got cell phones, how many friggin' spam calls do you get in a day? I get at least 4 or 5 at least in a day. Of course, I got the numbers are blocked, but it still comes in that they're trying to get a hold of me. These are unknown numbers. These are people trying to scam me out of things all the fucking time, trying to scam, and it's unavoidable, because your phone number gets out there, okay? The minute you turn that fucking thing on, and you start dialing numbers, or you start using it on the internet, they got your number, okay? You can't hide it, okay? So just about every one of us out there that's got an iPhone or whatever, we're all getting these calls, and we're getting these texts, that come from nowhere, it seems, but they got sweet deals for you. They got offers. They can make your life rich and grand, okay? And they wouldn't be doing this if there weren't suckers out there that were giving them the opportunity to make money off of them. And believe you me, I'll tell you, it ain't just old people that get scammed. It's a lot of young people too, and a lot of idiots out there that don't critically think. And it's those people that I speak to a lot on these videos that are bringing the whole country down with their stupidity. And they don't believe that, okay? They don't believe that. They don't think that, their mistakes can, hurt anything. They won't even admit they made a mistake because they know they did, but they won't admit it. All right? It's just the idea that they have to be right all the fucking time, no matter what they do. They're too arrogant, you know, to concede to the fact that, yeah, we misstepped when we voted for Trump. He was a bad mistake. You know, we never should have done it. They won't say that out loud, but a lot of them have been saying it, you know, inside. And I know that because you look at the way that the party is kind of splitting now between who wants to support Trump for president and how many don't. That number's growing for those that don't, you know, every day. Because, you know, Trump has not been doing a very stellar job at looking clean lately. And I think people are getting sick of that because it reflects on the whole party. You know, that's why Democrats aren't people who will put up with shit like that, because it's so more important for us to try to keep an image that, you know, we do care about right and wrong, because the other side don't. So we have to be the ones people come to get the answers they need, you know, because over there at the right wing, they don't care about the truth. They don't care about fucking things like that. They're about themselves, about what they want, and hey, you know, if people suffer as a result because of what they want, that's just part of the game. You know, they don't care. Okay, so that's it for today. And I will talk to you again later, whenever, I don't know when, but sometime later. So I hope everybody out there keeps their ears open to local COVID news. I haven't heard much about the ordinary flu, but I guess that's pretty much under control for now anyway. And please subscribe and comment. I'd like to hear from you. And I hope everybody has figured out by now that, you know, treating each other with kindness and respect goes a lot further than, you know, shoving people aside and arguing with individuals, whether in person or over the phone or what have you. Doesn't really help anything. Okay, you walk away feeling angry all friggin' day. You bring it home and you tell your kids and your wife or whatever what you're angry about, and then they, you know, it's just a virus that perpetuates. And you know, we just don't need to get ourselves into that. You know, we can avoid things like that. We know how. All right. So let's try and see if we can't do better out there. And be careful when you go out to places, because there are people carrying guns. All right, I hate to say that, but it's true. Keep your eyes open. You see anything unusual, find somebody, an authority that you can go to that can handle the situation. Try not to do it yourself. Especially if you're a kid or something like that. You know, the last thing you want is them trying to do anything about it, because it's dangerous out there. So take care, everybody, and I'll see you.